What's up, folks? How's it going? Today we're going to be doing what's become a habit on this channel, and we're going to be expanding on previous points. Okay, some things brought up in the previous video. Let's start first with environment. All right, a comment was made saying something along the lines of they don't like the kind of talk. You know, they don't like the way I was talking because when I say shit like that, you know, that's the kind of talk that makes people think that there are no problems with the environment, and that's a good point. And let's make a couple of things clear. First of all, you're speaking to an Eagle Scout. You're speaking to somebody who has, I like nature, okay? I like mountains and trees and birds and bees and all that crap. And I'd like all that stuff to be around for, you know, successive generations of people to see, okay? But the issue here, the issue with this article, was whether or not consumerism is destroying the environment. That was the contention. Okay. Let's talk about what are the problems in our environment. All right. I'm not even going to talk about global warming because, frankly, I find global warming to be irrelevant. Because if it were true, it's not going to kill us overnight anyway. And if it isn't true, it doesn't matter because we're still polluting the earth and we can all agree that that's bad. That's why I don't understand why this is such a huge debate, because we all know, we all agree that polluting is bad, whether or not you think that global warming is true or not. Okay, you know, I just can't imagine anybody saying that polluting is not bad. Okay, not seen it yet. Maybe it's happened. I wouldn't be that fucking surprised, but haven't seen it. Okay. So global warming is irrelevant. Let's look at some of the things that we've done in the environment. A lot of the things that we used to do to fuck up the environment were things born of ignorance. Okay, look at DDT, pesticide. Right? When it first came out, it was great because it killed everything. Right? And it didn't kill people, and it saved a lot of lives. You know, from people that would have died of malaria otherwise. But we discovered that it was, you know, having a terrible effect on our environment, so they banned it, and now we don't use it anymore, and we've seen the species that were affected by it have rebounded, okay? Nature is incredibly resilient, all right? You know, and a lot of the things that we used to do, like just, you know, pouring whatever the fuck you wanted into the river or the lake or the ocean or whatever, which still happens, okay? I'm not going to say it doesn't, though, you know, if they get caught, they're going to be in trouble. But for the most part, those practices are a thing of the past in this country. Okay, laws from the federal government and from the states have fixed that problem for the most part. Okay, and our environment is much better than it was 50 years ago in this country. It just is. Our rivers are less polluted. Our land is less polluted. Our air is slightly less polluted. But they don't want to talk about this shit, okay? Because the environmental disaster crowd is using this threat to promote their politics, okay? The environmental catastrophe is a tactic of the left, and I'm sorry if you don't like this, a tactic that the liberal left uses to scare its people into supporting its politics. The left has scare tactics just like the right does. If you don't see that, then you're fucking blind, my friend. I'm sorry. Both guilty of that. But they don't want to talk about how our environment is better, about how, at least in this country, we're doing a better job with endangered species. You see bald eagles off the endangered species list. It used to be critically endangered, off the list. We're seeing wolves coming back in some areas. It's looking pretty good, okay? Of course, it's not as good as it could be, but, you know, some things can't be fixed. Some things can't be helped. A lot of the things about the environment have been irrevocably destroyed by people that are long since dead, and there's nothing we can do about it. Okay, you know, some problems that we have are still problems of ignorance. Okay, look at South America. Look at the burning of the rainforest. Well, why are they doing that? They're doing it for grazing land for their cattle, and they're doing it for farmland. Why the fuck are they doing that? Well, because they're ignorant in proper ways of agriculture, or they don't have the money for it. Because they wouldn't need to do that in this country, because we can produce tens of thousands of heads of cattle on relatively little land, which I know the environmentalists also think is wrong, but I think is fucking awesome. They haven't figured out how to do that, or they don't have the money for it yet, so they continue to destroy the rainforest for no reason, and that's bad. But that's something that we can fix with education and with helping their economies. Okay, consumerism is not the problem there. They're just trying to fucking feed themselves. And if they don't know any better, what else are you supposed to do? I'm not saying that they should keep doing it. I'm just saying you have to understand why they're doing what they're doing. Okay, but for the most part, at least in the United States, the wholesale destruction of our environment is no longer allowed. You still have some things like that, like the stripping of mountains for coal mining. But look at coal mining. Well, what is the main use for coal? The two main uses for coal are coal for the generation of electricity and coal for coke for making steel. Okay, nothing we can do about the coal for making steel because that's how you got to make it. But for the electricity, we've had the solution for this shit for going on 50 years, or over 50 years. I've been saying this shit many times, okay? Nuclear power. Had the solution. It's there. Who is responsible for demonizing nuclear power? The liberal fucking left. Sorry, okay? The same people that lie about nuclear weapons, okay? The same people that don't understand nuclear weapons strategy, the same people that don't understand nuclear weapons lie about them. And they also don't understand nuclear power, and they lie about nuclear power. They put both of these things together, crunched them, and shoved it down our throats, so people are now afraid of nuclear power. There's no reason. No reason, okay? There's not been any significant nuclear accidents in this country, okay? 3 Mile Island, no fatalities, okay, because the emergency procedures they had in place worked, okay? The only major nuclear disaster in the history of mankind is Chernobyl, and that never would have happened here, okay? It happened in Russia because Russia sucks. Sorry, they had no standards. They allowed people to build it that should have never been allowed to even build a fucking apartment complex, let alone a nuclear reactor. And nobody should be surprised that that shit happened, okay? But that never would have happened here, and it won't happen here, okay? And we also have solar and wind and all that shit, but we don't need coal to burn coal for electricity. We just don't, okay? But part of the reason why they put money towards coal plants instead of nuclear plants is because the left scared people out of nuclear power, and that's their fault, okay? We're doing better with cars. Our cars are more efficient. Consumerism, does that include buying cars, or does that make the environment worse? No, it makes it better, okay? When I think consumerism, I think, the wish to buy things that you don't necessarily need, things in excess of what you need to keep you alive. So you might go out and buy a computer or some books or a TV or whatever because it makes your life more comfortable. And no matter what these people say, you going out and buying a computer is not destroying the environment. Okay, that's a lie. All right, that's ridiculous, fucking ridiculous. So let's look at the other countries. Okay, there's nothing we can do about what China and India, the two growing industrial powers. There's nothing we can do about what they want to do on their own country. Okay, that's their business. We don't have any place to say anything about that. Just like they don't have any place to say anything about what we do. Okay, you're not going to win that argument, especially not with the fucking Chinese. They're not going to listen. Okay, but this gets us onto the issue of Western cultural terrorism. The comment that I talked about before. The thing that pisses me off so much about that statement is that they're the ones who are being elitists. They're the ones that are degrading other people's cultures, because it's like they're saying, "Oh, look at the cute little foreigners. They're so cute and innocent. Oh, don't you ruin their innocence, Westerners. You're gonna ruin the cute little foreigners." Look, these are fucking human beings, man, that have been living their lives for thousands of years, totally separate from us, creating their own empires and their own religions and their own technology and their own society, all on their own, okay? The Eastern people, I guess, as opposed to Western people, are just as imperialistic and violent as we are. Look at the fucking Chinese. They have just as much, if not more, disregard for human life than we do. Okay, these people are not innocent. We didn't destroy anybody's cultures. They did this all on their own. Okay, Japan became an imperial power, a technologically advanced imperial power that took over the greater part of the Pacific Ocean without our help, destroy the environment there, all of their own accord. Okay, nothing to do with us. So when you talk about Western culture as terrorism, you're pretty much saying other cultures are too innocent and stupid to have their own fucking opinions. But how do we fix these problems? Well, we help improve people's economies so that they can move on to producing things with less pollution and more efficiently. Okay, and they can start producing more green items. Look at all the green items that are available to you, the environmentally friendly items that 20 years ago, even 10 years ago, you wouldn't have been able to get, right? That's a move in the right direction, and it's not going to stop. It's going to keep going, okay? The main point here is that the world is not going anywhere, okay? We have time to, progress naturally, which we're doing. Okay, we're getting better and better at protecting the environment and our technology is becoming less and less intrusive. Okay, and we're becoming more and more efficient in our production of energy and products. Okay, the fear mongers of the environment won't tell you that because it doesn't support their politics. Okay, but that's exactly what they're doing, is fear mongering. The Earth is not going anywhere. Don't fucking worry about it. And the Earth and its creatures are much better off now than they were 50 years ago, okay? Especially in the United States. So that's what we're talking about with that. Second thing is the issue of capital punishment. And this is one of those topics that people instantly polarize because they think to be pro-capital punishment is to be right-wing, and to be anti-capital punishment is to be left-wing, and there's really no crossover on that, and that's just wrong. I think that capital punishment is necessary sometimes. I think it's necessary for us to hold that power, okay? By us, I mean the people, the government, whatever, us collectively. We have to have the power to do that, because sometimes you don't have a fucking choice. The distinction I make is justification, okay? Because like I said before, I'm not all for revenge. It seems to me that if some guy, robs a liquor store one time, and it goes badly, and he kills a dude, that's fucked up, okay? And he needs to be put away for it for a while, at least. But executing him, I mean, he's not a madman. He's not going to kill everybody he sees. He made one bad decision in his life, and executing him would be nothing but revenge, and petty revenge at that, because, who needs to kill a creature so low? But sometimes a motherfucker is just too dangerous to be left alive. If we ever captured Osama bin Laden, if he's still alive anyway, we would ask him as many questions as we had, put him on trial, and then we'd execute him because the motherfucker's too dangerous to be left alive, okay? He could never be released, ever, and he's only ever going to cause trouble, so fuck him. The other distinction here is that I feel it is, it's harder for me to condone the execution of somebody like Jeffrey Dahmer than it is for me to condone the execution of somebody like Timothy McVeigh, because Jeffrey Dahmer never would have done that shit if he wasn't fucking crazy. There was no monetary gain there. He wasn't trying to gain any tangible power. I mean, he was trying to exert his own personal power over the people he tortured, but he wasn't, trying to form a criminal empire or something like that. But somebody like Timothy McVeigh commits a terrorist act, right, and pretty much declares war on the government of the United States. And when you do something like that, you're putting your life up as part of the bet, as part of the bargain here, okay? That's why I'm not that shocked and frankly don't really care that much about them executing those people in Sri Lanka, because they made the decision to use violence as their recourse, and they should have known when they went out that the trade-off could be death, okay? Your life is forfeit. That's the risk. That's what you put up, okay? Because the thing about war and violence and criminality, okay, is that there's great potential profit, there's great potential benefit. You could achieve your goals relatively easily and relatively quickly in comparison with anything else. Okay? But but the trade-off is your life could be forfeit. Okay, that's how it works. You don't just get to, be in start a violent war or some shit like that, and then at the end of it be like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. No, it doesn't work that way. Okay, and somebody like Timothy McVeigh has declared war against the government of the United States, and he succeeded in his goal, but he was captured, so his life was forfeit. I'm sorry. Some criminal, a mob boss or whatever, he's declared war against society. Okay, I mean that he's made a conscious decision to put his life up for grabs. Okay, and if he loses, his life is forfeit. Okay, but somebody like Jeffrey Dahmer or these kids in England that I was talking about don't understand that. They don't understand the bargain that they've made with their own lives. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know. Maybe that made it clear. Maybe that made it just more confusing. I'll talk to you folks later.